Welcome to Transform and Filter using Photopea or any other app that you want to use. And so your project is going to look something similar to this, where you've got objects, they've been transformed, and they have a filter applied to them. So you're going to need one background photo to start, 4 or more pictures of people or objects, and then we'll be transforming and then filtering each one. And we're going to use Photopea. You can use Pixlr, you can use Photoshop. On any of those work, we're going to start by dragging and dropping our background photo in. And that will open up a new project. And here we are. Over on the layers panel, we can see it's the background. And we're going to click on the lock because we don't want to edit this. We just want it to stay in place. Now we're going to drag in our next photo. And this one is going to be an object or a person. So here we have the image here. We have a bounding box, this blue with the white nodes everywhere. And it allows us to transform, either scaling, squishing, squashing. You can go from the top, the side. If you go from the corner, it's good. It's very elastic. If you hold down Shift while you do this, then it keeps it the same aspect ratio, which is nice. The last basic transformation is rotate. So if you go to the corner, but then allow that U shape to show up, then that's something you can do straight off the top. Let's head to Edit. And under Edit, we're going to see a few things we can do. So Puppet Warp, Perspective Warp, Free Transform, Transform with a big menu. And so all these top ones you can kind of do. And then down here we have rotations, and we also have flipping. So if you want to switch it to the other side, you can do that. I'm hitting Command Z to go backwards in case you're wondering why it's changing. Let's start with Transform here, and let's go to Warp. Warping gives you this cool grid, and then you can pull in the grid, and it's very malleable. You can move it around, and look at the slope on the shoulder and arm. I like this. So we can hit the check mark at the top, and I'm going to move this down towards the bottom, but look at this. This is something I want to show you. So on the corner, you can see this little square symbol, and that means that it's a smart object, and we can't edit it. So I'm going to right-click and click on Rasterize, and this allows us to change the photo the way we want to. So now that symbol's disappeared, and we can move this thing around, and it will make it easier to do what we want. So I usually start with rasterizing, and before we do this filter, I want to do that. So let's head up to filters, and you can see how many. We got a filter gallery. We also have all these, and underneath with all these flyouts, there's multiple. You can see how many choices there are, and there's quite a few. So it's fun to play around. Let's go to mosaic. And it looks pixelized. And look up here, we get a little slider bar, cell size. With a lot of these, you can adjust them once you've put them on. And then once you go okay, then it's actually going to stay like that. So you can go back if you want to. You can go Command Z or Control Z to go backwards if you make a mistake. Now I've brought in a new image, and you can see the box, but where is the person? Let's look at the layers down here on the right, and you can see that they're underneath the background. So I need to drag that layer up, and there, now we've got our person. They need to be rasterized, so we're going to do that. And then let's do some transformation. So maybe this person can be skinny or maybe super wide. It doesn't have to be a complicated transformation, just something to show that you did a transformation. And now let's go over to filter, and what kind of filter do we want to do this time? There are so many, sometimes it's hard to pick, but let's go with something maybe blur. Spin blur, that sounds cool. So this comes with a circle. You have to move it towards where you want to use it. So I'm going to put it right over top of this person. And you can see as I pull these out, they're going to increase. Anything inside the circle is getting spun. And there's a middle one as well. So this looks good. I'm going to hit check mark because I like it. And there, it will stay that way. Let's add in the next person. And as you keep going, you're going to recognize and get comfortable with the pattern. So let's drag a person in. Let's move them up in the stacking order. And then let's make sure that we rasterize them. Perfect. So they're all set up, ready to go. How do we want to transform? Where should we have them? Let's put them in the back. Let's make this person super tall and skinny, and we'll hit the check mark. So that's transformed. And now let's head over to the filters. And what do we feel like this time? There's blur, distort, noise. Ooh, I like color halftone. So this makes it look like a comic book where there's a 3-color separation. You've got red or magenta, yellow and this blue. And so the photo gets broken up into those basic colors. And so you get a very cool old school kind of comic look. So let's go okay. You can slide those around, see what you like. And here we go with the last one. The last one, I'm going to do a truck. I'm going to mix it up, put an object instead of a person. Let's put it in between a couple of people. And I'm going to make this bigger to start with. I'm holding shift to keep the aspect. There, I made it a little tall. But let's try a different transformation. Let's try puppet warp. Now this one is interesting because look at this. You can put down anchor points. You can see all this mesh. And then you can pull it around and look at that. The anchors that you put down keep things where they are, and everything else gets manipulated. So you can put as many anchors as you want. You can pull from any side, and it distorts it in a very interesting way. We'll save that. So that's looking good. And then let's go over to the filter and let's go stylize and go oil paint. That looks cool, actually. Let's go oil paint. So it says radius, it gives me some sliders. Nothing's happening to it. And look at the truck was snapped back the way it was. So the filter's on there, but the transformation is off. So this is what happens if you don't rasterize. Look at this, it puts these onto it. And if we rasterize it, then it becomes editable fully. So let's try that again. Let's try the transformation again. Now that we have the oil paint, let's try the puppet warp again. And this time it will stick. So let's put some around. Whoa, I didn't put enough anchors. Look at that, it got crunched. Let's try this again. Let's go puppet warp. And we'll put a few more anchors so that it doesn't get sucked into a black hole like it did this last time. So the pattern works. You want to rasterize those things, but if you forget, it's not the end of the world. You can always rasterize afterwards and you may have to redo a step, but no big deal. So the puppet warp was looking good. It's very distorted and transformed, so it's easy to tell that I did something to that. Each one has been transformed and filtered, so we're going to go to File and head over to Export because I'm done. I'm going to hit Export As and PNG. I'm going to put a name in there, say my first name, and then the name of the project or a name that fits with this project. And we'll hit save. Remember always to double check your work, open it up before you submit it to D2L and make sure that it all looks good. And good luck with your project.